Hello, 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 and welcome back to Opinion or Opportunity. I am your host, Don Gringo, and welcome back to episode 4. I guess we have a little bit to discuss this week. I didn't get on here last Friday. Obviously, I have a lot to compare. I want to go over the conventions. I want to compare the DNC and the RNC. I also want to do a little bit more on the looting and rioting, but not from the news standpoint. I want to do it from Biden actually coming out last Thursday and finally coming out against them. Also, I guess Biden posted his travel agenda, actually looking like he's going to stump for the presidency finally, instead of hiding in the basement. Looks like he's going to start after Labor Day weekend. I also want to cover a little bit about what's going on about the debates and people's opinions on the debates and what my opinion is. I think we need to cover some of that there. And of course, for tech this week, I promised you we'd be doing a little bit with the Elgato Stream Deck. So that's what we got coming on. So at this point, this is your opportunity to leave. If you stay any longer, I may or will offend you. It's not my intention, but it will happen. So here's the alarm. If you don't like it, you need to leave now. All right, let's get into it. So obviously, over the past couple of weeks, we had the DNC and the RNC conventions. And, I'm a little bit surprised, actually, when you want to compare them. And I'm not talking from a speech or a message. I'm really talking more of a production. Obviously, the DNC knew for a very long time that they were going to be doing this via the way they did it. And I guess the problem I had was the poor production quality. The RNC had less time to actually put something together, and it just looks like they're just more competent. And the reason why I have a problem with this is real simple. If you're the DNC, 2016, Trump, walloped you in digital media. He really knows his stuff when it comes to entertainment. So I'm finding it very hard to believe now, 4 years later, that you want to unseat him. But you come out and you give such a lackluster performance and production, and when it comes to both conventions. Realistically, I really think the Democrats fell short. And it's not about me being biased one way or the other. I'm talking actual production quality. I think at the end of the day, I think even the Democrats are seeing it that, I don't know if Biden's in this to win this. He's not out there stumping. He's not out there promoting. He's not out there doing a lot. Neither is Kamala Harris. They're not doing a lot of interviews, and they're really not trying to get their message across. And then all of a sudden you do a DNC convention and you do such a lackluster production that, you may have had more per se views, TV views, but I highly doubt digital media views. If I'm correct, Trump won on digital media views. And, Trump came out and he's bought the biggest amount of YouTube ads and whatnot have you, like the highest number ever. And Biden buys TV. Now, I'm not saying TV's dead by any standard, but let's face it, if you're trying to get your message out, a lot of people today get it through their phones, their tablets, their computers. Things they spend all the time on. I don't find myself, and I'm not sure about you, spending as much time in front of the TV as I used to. Now, I'm not saying like last week or last month or last year. I'm talking about, 4 or 5 years ago. We're really, getting all of our information from these other sources of electronic devices, and that is digital media. I'm sorry, it's not TV. I'm finding that, when it comes to the production of the message quality, that I think these Democrats and their leadership, Nancy Pelosi, Biden, and all these people, they're just old. They're just old in their thinking. How can you beat someone who's got a better production and a better method of getting their message out than you do? And again, this is not about whose message is better. This is just about who's actually doing it and doing it better. So when I look at this, and I think you need to look at this objectively, how much effort is really being put in here? Now, does Biden truly want to win? If he did, why is this stuff acceptable? Never mind you have a piss poor running mate who called you a sexual predator and a racist, And for those of you who want to argue that point, all I got to say is this.
Cállate. Cállate la boca. Por favor, por favor.
Basically, shut your mouth, please. Okay, seriously. He came out, he said it, he did it. Now it's time that she has to acknowledge it, and the only acknowledgement is it's a debate. Please, I'm sorry, I'm tired of hearing the nonsense. So, also when we look at last week and what happened, never mind just the RNC convention and it being a better production in a short amount of time, Biden actually had to come out against the rioters and the looters. Why did it take so long? You want to be everyone's president like you claim to be, but being everyone's president also means you have to keep everybody safe. So if you think keeping looters safe and keeping them out of jail is a good thing, you're not my president, period. And it's not that I support Trump and I don't think he's very presidential, and we've already had this discussion, okay? But seriously, your job is to keep everyone safe, keep the national community at large safe. I mean, this is just ridiculous here. So it took you forever. And the only reason why he came out and said it, and let's really be honest here, is because even on Chris Cuomo and all these other commentaries, Bill Maher of all people, they're all worried now because of the fact that people are actually starting to notice this is a problem, and it's starting to, expand to other communities, and it's going to start affecting people. That's all there is to it. And it's actually staying in the back of people's minds now to the point that it's changing the polling. They're coming out and saying it now. So it took for this to happen, the polls to actually change, for him to come out and say, you know what, you need to stop looting, you need to stop rioting. It's not good. Yeah, because it's not good for your presidency. It's not good for your chances. But it took you, 90 some odd days, 100 days to come out and say this? And you're supposed to want the presidency? I mean, when you look at everything total, it's very hard for me to believe that Joe Biden's really running for president. No interviews, hiding in the basement. I mean, Trump, at least he goes out there, he runs his mouth, he does says a lot of dumbass shit. Let's be real about it, okay? But Joe Biden comes out with all these gaffes. He's got 40 some odd years in politics, and he comes out with these gaffes like, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. You want to talk about the race card and stuff? This man has done more creepy shit, smelling more women's hair, touching, putting in pictures, seeing his hands inappropriately on places. I mean, I just don't know what we're doing here. Again, I said in previous episodes, this is like let's pick the best of the worst again, people. I think we need to start holding our politicians a little bit more accountable. Truly, truly, truly more accountable. This man's not going to start running for president, really running for president until after Labor Day, right? So, and then we're talking after next weekend. And by the way, voting starts on the 22nd. Good job. That's where we are. No, voting actually starts on the 22nd. Oh, and by the way, voting starts on the 22nd, and we still haven't had a debate. We still don't know what these people stand for, but yet voting starts. He's hiding in the basement. He's only going to start coming out and making some of the rounds after next weekend. Now, I'm not saying that I'm this big strategist or what have you, but honestly, if I'm going to sit here and say I'm going to vote today, I couldn't vote today. I haven't heard from the other side. What have I heard from the other side except for I'm going to raise taxes? I'm going to defund police. And yes, he doesn't say I'm defunding police. He says I'm going to, obviously reallocate money. But that's just politician talk for defunding the police. Let's be honest here, okay? So if your boss came to you and said, I'm just going to reallocate some of the money out of your paycheck to put it somewhere else, he's defunding you. He's taking away your money. So let's not play the game here. Let's be realistic. Let's be honest. And that's what this channel is supposed to be about. We're supposed to be able to have a conversation. And for those of you who do want to have a conversation with me, I am on Twitter, Opinion or Opportunity. I am on Parler, Opinion or Opportunity. You can reach out to me via email, opinion.opportunity@gmail.com. By all means, please reach out. I would love to get your responses, see what you think. I'll even read them on the air. I don't care. But the thing here is we need to have open dialogue and move on from here. So we're at this point now where these people are actually going to start running 1 week from tomorrow, because this is now Sunday, 8/30/20. Okay, so we're talking about he's going to start running a week from tomorrow or after tomorrow. So what is your opinions? What are your thoughts on this? For me, when I'm asking these questions to myself, these are the questions I'm asking. How the hell am I voting for any of these people, right? What do they stand for? If one guy's raising taxes and the other guy's lowering taxes, I got to be honest, we're already in a pandemic. How can you raise taxes in the pandemic? Seriously, how can you raise taxes in a pandemic? Most people getting this money doesn't realize that they're going to be taxed on this money. So not only are you going to be taxed on this money, Trump wants to lower the taxes, Biden wants to raise the taxes. So if you don't know you're getting taxed on this money, you're getting taxed on this money. It's income. Don't care how you want to cut it, it's income. So you're getting taxed on this money. So you really got to look at the messaging and who you really voting for and why. If this is a I just don't like Trump situation, I get it. But they could have put up anybody. I mean, truly let me not say anybody. There are some other politicians that would have been just as bad, if not worse. But if Joe Biden was their best shot, we have a problem. I mean, even at least Bernie was a socialist. We knew what he stood for. You knew what you were getting. The only good thing was he wasn't going to get half the shit done that he wanted to because it would never got put through Congress. I mean, let's face it. I mean, that's just a fact. I think most people forget how our country is run, that, it's not just the president, what the president wants to do. So I want to look at this week, and I want to look at it from the comparison from the production end of the DNC and RNC again. I think the RNC did a much better job. I think the messaging, I want to go into the messaging, honestly. Watching these images on the DNC of these rioters and looters with their fists up, and you see the mainstream media coming out and saying, with fires in the background. Well, it's mostly not violent, but there's stores in the background on fire. I think we have a problem here. Most of your mainstream media is owned by liberals, and I get it. They were smart enough to get into let's control the narrative, but it's very difficult for me in the back of my head, and it should be for you with common sense, is how can someone say that the protest is mostly peaceful, but you got fires in the background, right? Now we got people pretty much getting shot, weekly, if not getting close to, more than that at this point. At some point we need to do something, and we need to come together. Again, I said it in previous episodes that realistically the middle ground people, the moderates on left and right, are going to be the only ones who are going to be able to pull this off. And that's truly the only thing that can save this country. It's not the left, it's not the right, it's the moderates, it's the independents. Most of this show, I hate to put this out there, if you are a Democrat, a full-fledged on Democrat, or a full-fledged Republican, half of this spectacle, it's not even for you. It's for the independents. It's for the people in the middle. It's for that 10% of voters. 10% of voters that are out there. This isn't for you. The show isn't for you because they already know they're going to get your vote. You don't have any value because they're already expecting this. They already know you're going to do it. So I don't understand what you think about that coming from my mouth, but that's just fact. If you look at any news agency going on today, they're not going to sit there and say, well, we know this, that, and the other thing. They're just going to tell you that like 44% of voters are Democrat. They're going to vote Democrat. 42 are Republican. You got like 4 or 5% that are like, libertarian, whatever have you. Okay. And then you got the rest of the people, which is roughly 10%, maybe a little bit more, which are independent voters. These are the people who are actually going to decide who's president. So when you look at this and you look at all the spectacle, and you sit there and want to say, boom, I'm a Republican, I'm this, the only thing I got to tell you is this.
Stupidity is a learned behavior that should be corrected by
excruciating pain, and sometimes death.
That's right. You heard me. If you're a stupid ass, if you sit there and really think that, just because you are full-fledged going to run down the ticket and vote all Republican and all Democrat, you're an idiot. These people have your vote. There's no reason why they should even talk to you because they know they already got your vote. They don't need to earn nothing. What's there to earn? You can't make any demands because you're going to vote that way. If you don't, you're not going to go against your own beliefs. And that's why I've always said I think it's about time that people come back to the middle. Everyone should be an independent. Everyone should turn around and look not at what the media tells you. You need to do your own research. You got to look into this honestly and figure out for yourself who you stand for and why. Independents got it best. And understand that. Independents got it best because Everybody wants their vote. If I was running Republican tomorrow, I don't have to sit there and go see my Republican base. Why? You're going to vote for me anyway. If I'm a Democrat, same thing. You're going to vote for me anyway. I don't have to worry about you. Why do you think when presidential candidates go out in any other election, they have to spend more time in battleground states because they know they have your vote? You ain't worth nothing. Why do you think Hillary lost in the first place? Because she thought she had everyone's votes, and lo and behold, her message wasn't good enough, and she didn't spend any time because she figured she had the votes. And guess what? People's opinions were changing, and she didn't obviously acknowledge that. Now, with that being said, I mean, we're in probably the most contested, I want to say emotionally and mentally election that we've been in a very long time as a country. And Biden's just now coming out of the goddamn basement or the closet, whatever you want to call it. We have a problem here. Trump's been campaigning for the last 4 years. He's been on digital media for the last 4 years, and then he was running again on digital media prior because he was running in 2016. What are you guys really thinking about this? So here's the whole thing. Let's stop talking about my opinion. Let's get into some opportunity here first off, okay? So when it comes to the conventions, if we are going to turn around and do a convention like you did like this for either side, obviously I think the Democrats, the opportunity here is that they need to get better at digital media. They need to get better at production. Because this whole thing of relying on people's votes, it's just not going to carry them through anymore. Okay, with all the digital media out there, with all the different media sources out there, people are just bombarded with information, and you're not going to control it forever. Okay, so the other thing about coming out against the looting, the opportunity there, the only opportunity Biden and Harris had was they should have came out sooner, because now Trump was running on the law and order platform. What are you going to come out and say? You're going to come out and say what? You got to stop looting. You got to stop rioting, or Trump's going to get reelected. The Democrats are already saying that. So I mean, this is a missed opportunity. This, never mind saying you have an opportunity. This is a missed opportunity for you to take control. They could have taken control, okay, and controlled that narrative by being the people sitting there saying we're going to be the presidential candidates for everyone. But no, you turn around and decide that rioters and looters were more important. So that's a missed opportunity. So let's get into the debates and what's going on and with the election coming up here rapidly. And we're not seeing a debate until the 29th, but yet some states are actually going to start taking the mail-in ballots, and voting is going to be happening on the 22nd, okay? I really do think the opportunity here is to get a debate sooner than later. They got to either move a debate or they got to add a debate, because I honestly don't see, hiding in the closet or only putting a 3-week push is really going to help anybody here when it comes to the Democrats. I think the opportunity here is you need to get out in front of this. You need to get out and on a debate stage, and you need to get your message out there and show that you are going to be the president for everybody and not just the rioters and looters, which are now hurting your cause. And when it comes to Nancy Pelosi, the only opportunity you have there, tell her to shut her mouth. Okay, again, just tell her, shut up.
Cállate. Cállate la boca. Por favor, por favor.
I mean, that woman can't get out of her way. I mean, she's just as bad as Trump. I just don't get it. And then when a female is finally picked for VP, she comes out and says, well, she's still going to be the most powerful woman. I mean, you're arguing against your own party. Who are you? So you're fighting Trump. You're fighting your own people. This woman just needs to go. She's a bag of bones, and she hasn't done anything. I mean, she can pass all the bills she wants in the House. They ain't passing the Senate, and they're not becoming law. So it doesn't goddamn matter. You're useless. You're useless, period. That's it. It's time to get people in there with fresh ideas, younger people who can take control of issues and get things done and work with people, period. Okay? So that's the opportunity here. We need to get rid of all the old people. Done. And if you can't agree with that, then again, I go back to
stupidity is a learned behavior that should be corrected by
excruciating pain. and sometimes death.
So that's where I'm going to leave it today when it comes to opportunities. I mean, obviously we got lots coming up here. I'm afraid to see what's going to happen this week. By hopefully Friday, I'll get another episode out. But you really need to reflect, and I think that's what I'm trying to get through on this channel. Is should be a conversation. I'm not getting any dialogue just yet. I know my show's too new, but we really need to have a dialogue, and we need to. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to share ideas and disagree on them, because at the end of the day, fundamentally, I pointed out in previous episodes, we all have the same fundamental beliefs and wants. We just have different ways of getting there. And this should not be a far left or a far right, cringy moment. This should be what it used to be, which was people compromising to get things done for all people. So when it comes down to it, let's talk about the last thing, which is the tech. I got to tell you that I've been loving this Elgato Stream Deck. If you're into streaming, podcasting, YouTube videos, whatever you're into, gaming, I highly recommend getting one. I want to thank you, everyone, so much, and I will look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a good one.